Hello and welcome to this case solution for the design thinking specialist job that is announced at Ørsted. My name is Claus Christensen and I will try to take you through some thoughts I've had on the case in the next few minutes. Overall, I have created a small project plan for the 4 weeks for the design thinking project. It consists of 3 little sprints, one research sprint, one design sprint, and one refinement sprint. And I've added a few days to begin with, a little ramp-up day for the core team, a prep day for the core team before the design sprint, and some wrap-up time at the end with the whole team. As you can see, I've allocated some resources as well. We have the core team allocated all the way along, and we have the specialist coming in once in a while and doing the complete design sprint, and then participating in some of the user tests as well. The blue here are the user involvement steps. So if we look at the first sprint, the research sprint, I have detailed that a little bit here on this painting. Basically, it's a 4-day research sprint activity consisting of day 1 preparing, and day 2 and 3 doing interviews, and day 4 wrapping up. Basically, the purpose is to understand the users and the context to make sure that we are designing for the right problem and we're solving the right problem. The approach is basically to have at least 5 user interviews in context, and this little method here has been quite fruitful previously in work I've done. So basically start with an open interview, map an existing journey, act out the existing journey, so having the users show us what they're actually doing, and then afterwards reflecting on the map and the enactment to see how the perception differentiates from what it actually was. The outcome could be in many ways, but it's always good to have some user profiles with codes, pains and pleasures. We can use empathy maps or user journeys, and then in general have lots of photos and videos to use for the later workshops. The next activity after the prep day here is to run a 5-day design sprint. Inspired by the Google design sprint and a little bit by the 5 mindsets, which I find quite interesting. The purpose is to go from those insights into some agreed direction for the project, and having sort of identified the right problem to solve and some solutions that can fix that. The outcome should be sort of a clear and agreed mission, some prototypes of possible solution directions, shared direction, and some illustrated value propositions in whichever form and way we can make it happen. So basically we have a classic plan with the first day empathizing, second day lots of ideation, the third day evaluation, and 4th day build and prototype some of the storyboards that have been created. And finally, day 5 we will test and also work a little bit with the storytelling to wrap it all up in the design sprint. So that was sort of the second sprint. The third sprint is the refinement sprint, where we take the outcome of the design sprint and refine that a little bit more. And that was only the core team that should be working on that, with input once in a while from specialists and business developers. So the purpose is overall to refine the outcome and get to a final MVP. And also to validate along the way the feasibility, viability, and the overall UX concept for desirability. So basically moving from paper prototypes to actually working solutions if possible. The approach would basically be an iterative development and lots of user involvement through rapid iterative cycles, also known from Lean UX. And the outcome would be the final MVP proposal, and then also some other supporting tools and activities that can be done or put in the backlog after the sprint has been done. Finally, I think it's important to have some good selling material, so I've also allocated some time for that. As you can see, a quick plan here. First 3 days, iteration 1, next 3 days, iteration 2, and then finally a couple of days for storytelling, creating video material, and so on. This is sort of the flexible time depending on how the rest of the overall plan goes. But overall, this is what the overall time looks like. Finally, some facilitated considerations, some of the risks that we see. Design thinking is new, so we have to make sure that we get people out of the comfort zone, but don't get them uncomfortable. So there's a few mitigations for these that I will go through in our discussions on Tuesday in the interest of time. So this was some brief thinking about the project. I look very much forward to meeting you on Tuesday and discuss more in detail about the case. Thank you very much for watching and for hanging on at this time. See you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.